Hello everyone! Welcome to Geeks Not Nerds, the podcast. I'm Captain Logan.
And I am Vince.
And today we're going to talk about movies.
Yeah.
What a shocker. Our topic today comes from a viewer who calls himself Tenakaka1985. That was hard to say. And he wanted us to do a discussion about, well, he says, a discussion on why some movie franchises, i.e. superheroes / sci-fi, cannot be better after the second movies. So the idea being that you get these film franchises that start off strong, and then by 3 they're just abysmal. And I'd say a lot of 3s are bad. A lot of 3s are bad. And so I found a list on Wikipedia of film trilogies and then of other franchises that went even higher than that, and I thought we might take a look at that a little bit, but this guy's specifically talking about superhero and sci-fi, so why don't we start there, and let's talk about trilogies that we think had a good 3, or not even just trilogies, but things with even more than that if we come up with them, that had good 3s and bad 3s.
Good 3s, and are you a good 3 or a bad 3? Put your heels together and such and what. But,
can you think of any superhero franchises that have just a knock it out of the ballpark 3?
Immediately? No.
Yeah, me neither.
That's really... Because you get so hung up on the X-Men and the Spider-Man and the Batman and Superman that you go, is there anything out there that's worth a third movie?
And Ninja Turtles.
And, unfortunately,
which was really bad, yeah.
I did like Ninja Turtles too, though.
No, 2, but we're talking about 3.
Yeah,
we're talking about 3s. Yeah.
True.
2 was okay. I don't love it, but 3 was just atrocious. I mean, and a lot of times it seems like the third film in some of these franchises won't even feel like it's in the same continuity. If you know what I'm talking about, sometimes that'll happen where they'll just really kind of break formula and it feels like something different. I mean, X3 and Spider-Man 3 both have a very different feel than the things that come before them. X3, there's a good excuse. It's got a different director. Spider-Man 3, there's no excuse for this. I mean, the pacing is all wonky and completely everywhere, but it's still Sam Raimi doing it. I don't understand that. So.
Well, to my understanding, what it was is the studio trying to put pressure on Sam Raimi and
to put stuff in it he didn't want to put in, and then he still put in the stuff that he wanted to put in, and so, yeah.
So when you try to squash a bunch of crap together, maybe some of it's good, maybe some of it's not, you come up with crap. Good plus crap equals crap.
Sci-fi? Last 2 Alien films? Not so good? I don't... 3's okay, but I don't love it.
See, that's the thing. Alien, we are talking about Alien, like Alien vs. Predator type Alien, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure there wasn't an Alien franchise I wasn't aware of. But, because Alien's a pretty vague term. But
no, I'm talking about the Alien registered trademark, Vince.
But Alien 3, the good version of that, and I think it's at least on par with the second Aliens.
Now, are you talking about, what do you mean when you say good version, like the director's cut?
There is a director's cut out.
That's the only one I've seen. I still didn't really care for it all that much. I think I just didn't like it on premise alone, but keep in mind that I'm not a big fan of military stuff, generally speaking, and that was too much of a military story for me. I mean, we had to watch all these rough and tough military guys, and I was just like, I just couldn't find myself caring enough about the characters.
I thought they were mostly prisoners in that movie.
Oh, were they? That would make it worse. Maybe there were war prisoners. Yeah, that would make it worse. I don't know. I'm also not a big fan of prison film. But yeah. And it's funny too because of course I think a lot of people have this opinion about the Alien franchise. It's funny. I don't believe we've ever talked about Alien.
I think you're right about that.
What's
not
interesting?
Even after mention of Avatar, we still didn't talk. We
still didn't talk about it. Yeah, I think that a lot of people say that the second film is the best in the franchise. That Aliens is just a knockdown, fantastic movie, and I agree. I think it's better than the first one. I think it's a great movie.
Faster paced.
Yeah, but it's also got a good story. I mean, I think it's a really good movie. Now the first film was really good too. Don't get me wrong. It's 1979, so it's slow. But excuse me, it's I mention that because I think with a lot of these where 3 is not so great, 2 is knocked out of the ballpark, and it's kind of like we did such a good job with the second one, we're a little too high and mighty now trying to make a third one. Because it's so hard, if you get into the idea of we must make this bigger and better, and it was already kind of really, really good, then it's hard to do that.
Yeah. You know, I think these people are also just afraid to branch outside of whatever character that they've already started using. I mean, Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, you don't need to use Sigourney Weaver a million times. You could do somebody else. The comic books do, and the comic books are more popular than 3 and 4.
And Resurrection, yeah. Yeah, and they had to keep contriving ways to bring her back.
Yeah.
She's always in stasis. I mean, they had to keep doing, yeah.
Or a clone. Or
right.
something.
Or a clone in stasis, Vince.
A stasis clone. That sounds like a name.
You've got some franchises that get significantly worse as they go along, where 2 isn't good and then it isn't so good, but it's forgivable because 3 is really bad. I'm thinking of The Matrix when I say that. Now, I'm in the small camp that actually really, really liked Reloaded. It doesn't make a lick of sense, but I enjoyed the crap out of it. It's just a really fun movie to watch. And then the last film was pretty unforgivable. I mean, it's got some moments that are kind of cool, but for the most part, first of all, not enough of it actually takes place in The Matrix, and second of all, it became way too frickin' simplistic. So I don't know. That's definitely one of those that I'd say that it just keeps going downhill.
You know, since you brought up The Matrix, I want to share this little anecdote because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
But I had a friend at one point. He'd probably be kind of angry if I shared this, but I'm not giving names.
But you're going to do it anyway? All right, go ahead.
So there's a group of my friends sitting there watching the third Matrix movie. And when Neo's eyes explode, it can still see. My friend says, wow, blind people be angry if they saw this. They said, wait a second. That sounded dumb, huh? So I think blind people might be angry if that's all they were able to see.
Okay.
The only movie I see and it's this.
Okay, Vince. Oh man. So I mean, why do you think this is? Why is it so hard to make 3 good movies in a franchise, Vince?
I think the number one reason is that people get either overconfident or they rest on their laurels and they think we can sell these people anything by the third movie.
Yeah,
so
kind of Star Wars syndrome, right?
Yeah.
When you get into the new trilogy, where it's like, look, okay, we could put out Mr. Potato Head on the screen for 2 hours and people would go see it if you called it Star Wars.
And they did make a Vader Potato Head.
I know, and you know, I was making that joke before they did that too. It really infuriates me. I came up with that back in high school. I was like, think about Mr. Potato Head up on the screen, and then months later, it's Darth Vader. I was like, oh.
Oh no, Mr. Potato Head. But
I like that line though. It's funny. Like Optimash Prime. Have you seen that one?
No.
That's one of my absolute favorites.
Wow. No wait, I haven't seen it.
Taters of the Last Ark.
Haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
Really?
Taters of the Lost Ark. It's great. Anyway,
I forget that Mr. Potato Head even still exists, let alone is being sold. So, yeah.
You know, you get some trilogies that are kind of just a 6-hour film. And so then this doesn't apply to them, right? You like you know, the Bourne trilogy. I don't know if you've watched those films, but I mean, what's funny is they didn't make them all at once, but it feels like they did. You know, it feels like no time has passed whatsoever between these movies. And what I mean is, like, they're really consistent in their production value, and I think a lot of franchises have a difficult time doing this. And whether or not you like that style of film, or you like that actor, or you like that movie, that is something that we can learn from that. You know, is having such a consistent feel. You know, it helps that, of course, it helps that they had a book series that they were following kind of as closely as they possibly could, but
I just didn't like it because it was one long chase scene.
That's true, but
I stopped being able to discern one film from the other and went, oh, and he's running again. Okay, now somebody can get shot, and now they're going to run some more.
You know, I actually have a hard time following that series myself, but I like it, I think, mostly because of the consistency thing. I'm just like, I can't believe this. It took you guys 3 years to make the next film, and it feels like it's an extension of the first. I'm fascinated by that. And I think Star Wars had that, too. Empire Strikes Back, I think, really had that, where it doesn't have this extremely different feel from the first movie.
Except for the strange Ewoks.
Jedi does a little bit, but no, that was Jedi.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You said Star Wars, and I said except for the strange.
Well, I meant 1 and 2. I wasn't really talking about 3. And in fact, in fact, before the new trilogy came out, there were a lot of people who thought that Star Wars had this syndrome that we're talking about, where the first 2 were pretty good and then the third film was awful. There's a lot of people who really hate Return of the Jedi, and a lot of that is, but keep in mind that you know, you're it's hard not to think about that franchise without thinking about the new trilogy now. But
Yeah.
if you take that away, they were holding it to different standards back then. You know what I mean? No, it looks like an absolute masterpiece when you compare it to what came after it. But if you compare it to the first two films, I agree it's not as good. Now, I don't think it's that far removed, and I think that the last 20 minutes are really quite good. But yeah, so I understand why people had that, but it's also interesting. Perceptions change over time based on other things that came out, and so you know the standards we hold things to change.
Yeah. I mean, even look at District 9. Something that tries social messages in a science fiction film, and suddenly everybody gets all excited. Oh my god, we can do that with... Yes, we can. Look at the 50s.